So when it comes to traveling in style, Lindsay Olson is an expert because she doesn't just pack outfits at all. No. She will dress to blend in based on where she's traveling. So with over 50 countries under her belt, she's mastered the art of respecting local culture through fashion. But now she's sharing the brilliant idea that I don't think enough people are doing, and that's renting your clothes while traveling. So Lindsay, tell us about how you rent your clothes while traveling abroad.
Yeah, so there's two different ways that I rent clothing. One is through Rent the Runway. So I have a monthly subscription to Rent the Runway. This is something that I've been doing for years now. I think I've been doing this for 6 or 7 years. So I will kind of vary how many I do depending on like how many trips am I doing? Is this going to be a longer or a shorter trip? But I might vary, anywhere from 7 items a month to 12 items a month. And so I will order the items on Rent the Runway for my trip. And this is really great because I can choose these items based on where I'm going. So for example, when I went to Alaska, I ordered a bunch of coats and sweaters and items that would keep me warm, which is really great because I've lived in a lot of places. At the time I was in Arizona, I didn't have a lot of coats. And so I can also order, for example, when I go to a more conservative culture. For example, I've been to some places in the Middle East. I'm much more cognizant of ordering things with high necks, shoulders covered, knees covered, things that are respectful. When I go to Mexico or I go somewhere more tropical, I'm much more apt to order really, really colorful things. Think Farm Rio type of brands and stuff like that are gonna have like fruits on them and stuff like that. When I went to Romania, I ordered vampy, dark, stuff like that I was thinking for Transylvania. So I really like Rent the Runway because I can just really feel the aesthetic. Greece, of course, I ordered like whites and blues and stuff like that make me think of Greece. So I love that with Rent the Runway. And it saved me a ton of money because for the subscription, I don't shop anymore. Like I don't regularly buy clothing, I just rent. And so I've saved so much money in the long run because I'm not impulse buying, which is great because I've had a problem with impulse buying.
Oh my God, same. So I used to do Nuuly. And it's so funny because when I was going through your Instagram, you have so many outfits that I've rented for vacations before, specifically Farm Rio, because I love their style and their pops of color. Yes.
This is Farm Rio that I have on right now.
Yes, I was going to ask because it looks so spot on. But I love what you're saying in the sense that...
And I've recognized girls on the street and been like, did you rent that from me?
Yep, and it's so true. But it's also so true in the sense that yeah, you're paying a monthly subscription, but you're saving money because I have the same problem that I like a little retail therapy and I was spending money on outfits for a vacation, wearing it once and then just donating it to Goodwill a year later when I never wore it again. That it made so much more sense to rent my clothes for those trips where I wouldn't necessarily buy it for it. In that case.
And it's bad for your wallet and it's bad for the environment. And that I think really, really, like as I got older, started to really dawn on me is like the fast fashion is so bad for the environment. I was seeing photos of all of the discarded clothing in like the Atacama Desert and stuff like that. And it really upset me. And then I was like, I don't want to be a part of this.
Yes.
But anyways, getting back onto the second part of renting. So one is the Rent the Runway, and that's where I prep all of the clothing in advance. Okay. But then there are many, many countries where you can rent local traditional outfits. So like you had shown a picture that was from India. And that was one where there was just a man at that site who had a bunch of outfits that you could put on to take photos at that site. And I loved that outfit. It was so pretty. It was at a Stepwell. This one was in Albania, and this was at a store that just did rentals. And this is in a UNESCO heritage site town. So like a very cute, historic, traditional type town. And so especially when you go to those UNESCO heritage types of sites that are, known for tourism, you might find these kind of places where they will rent you these traditional type of outfits. So I do my best whenever I travel to take at least one photo in some type of traditional outfits. I found this especially easy to find this in Thailand. They had them everywhere in Thailand. Like when you go to temples, they have lots of outfits that you can rent and they're so pretty. I love the traditional Thai outfit. I was able to do this in Cambodia. I was able to do this in Vietnam when I went I went hiking at this one mountain and I wore the most gorgeous outfit. It came with a hairpiece that was like braided into my hair and it was so cool. And I was at the top of this mountain called Dragon Mountain in this like amazing like wool, like kind of, it was so cool. So I love renting the traditional outfits. And there was just a stand at the mountain where you could rent it. So I love doing that. And it's cool. Locals, I always think like I kind of wade back and forth between myself with like, is this cultural appropriation? Is this weird that I'm, you know, a white, I mean, I'm Mexican, but like I'm a white girl.
Right. American, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like a white girl doing it, but like the locals seem to really like it. Like, you know, and I'm not like profiting off it. I'm just doing it because it's really pretty and I really like sharing it with the world. And the locals do seem to really like it. Like they really do smile at you and they do seem to like seeing foreigners appreciate their culture.
That's amazing because I feel like what you described is not cultural appropriation, but a cultural appreciation, especially because you are taking the steps to learn about the culture, to learn about the importance of all of it, and share that wisdom with your followers as well. That I think you do it in such a respectful way that people can learn from you, where if you go, especially if you're walking around and you find those stores and they're so excited to dress you up, they're already saying, nope, it's not appropriation if we want to get you into these outfits. So I absolutely love that. Can we go to the next photo? I just want to make sure we're on the... Okay, yeah. So one of my other questions
that one was so fun.
Okay, yeah. So tell me about this one here.
That one was so fun. That was another guy who was just like on the street, like, you know, like in India. This one was in Jaipur, which is the pink city, and it's like one of the coolest places in India. Like everything is pink. They did it for when I think it was Queen Victoria was coming to the city, and they were like, paint everything pink. It's so cool. It's like the most amazing city. But this was just another guy that was just like on the side of the street and he had a bunch of outfits and you just give him some money and he'll let you dress up.
Okay, that is so helpful to know. Yeah. Because I was going to say that. Yeah. I wasn't sure if you like do your research and go to a store and rent them out, but it sounds like you can actually stumble upon renting your clothes pretty easily.
In India, this one and the other one you showed from India, like a few slides, those were just dudes that were there. So those are really easy. The Albanian one, I had to hunt out a lot more. So that one was like, definitely took some hunting and some like Googling or asking around. So it really depends. Same with, I think Cambodia, we had to kind of hunt around versus again with Thailand, lots, like super easy to find them. Romania, I didn't find any.
Okay.
Actually, no, you know what? At the very end of Romania, I did end up buying some traditional outfits, but they weren't like, it was more like Romanian, like woven outfits. Like it was, but it wasn't like the traditional cultural outfit. It was just like, you can tell this is like a Romanian, you know, design. But like, I didn't find anything that was renting like a, you know, like there was one that you could buy and it was very expensive. And I was like, well, I can't keep buying really expensive cultural outfits that I only wear once.
Right. But then let me ask this, if we want to go to the next photo. So let's say you've rented the clothes and you've fallen in love with them, or you're just out and about shopping. Do you also purchase some of these cultural items for yourself?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, like Rent the Runway has saved me a ton of money because I don't shop very much anymore, especially in the United States. But I do let myself shop when I find something amazing when I'm traveling abroad. So for example, this dress, I thought it was so cool. It was unique. I'd never seen anything like it. It has like a whole medieval battle going on it. And then I was wearing it when I went to this castle or this fortress. This was the fortress of Skanderbeg, who was is this Albanian icon who basically prevented the Ottomans from taking over Albania at the time, and like basically prevented the Ottomans from like getting to Rome. And like that's part of the reason why like Islam didn't come further into Europe. Like Europe could have been even more Islamic. Like obviously the like Albania is an Islamic country. They eventually were conquered by the Ottomans, but it's possible that like the Ottomans could have gotten further into Europe. But Skanderbeg, along with like Vlad the Impaler and like a bunch of guys, they like kind of stopped them. And so I'm in Skanderbeg's fortress, and this picture behind me is of one of those battles, and I'm literally wearing a dress with like a battle, and I thought it was so cool. But yes, I saw that dress. The funny thing is it's labeled Dolce & Gabbana. It is not. It's a not.
That's just the label, not actually the brand. Not the brand.
It cost me like $50.
Oh my gosh. I was like, then you got a great deal on Dolce & Gabbana if that's the case. But also $50 for this dress is also insane. Because this
gorgeous.
Is stunning.
I love this dress.
This is one of those things that you have to buy. You absolutely, especially when it's like a one of a kind piece. You're traveling abroad. It has that story, that sentimentality, but also it's that gorgeous. No, I stand behind that decision. That's the time where it is okay to do some retail therapy. So good to know that even when you do rent, you still can treat yourself every now and then, especially when it comes to appreciating some of the local culture. So I absolutely love that. We did have a couple of questions from our social media comments. So Obella Mafia over here on YouTube asks, did you like the quality of clothing in Turkey and India? So you mentioned that those were two of your favorite fashion places. How was the quality of the clothing there?
I think like any place that you shop, you're going to see a variation, right? So like there was a dress that I got in India for like $2. Mm-hmm. Obviously not the highest quality that you're going to see, but then like the lehenga I got cost me like $500. Like, but it was a one in a lifetime kind of purchase. And like, I have a friend who's Bangladeshi. Like when she gets married, I'm going to wear that lehenga to her wedding.
Oh yeah. Pays for itself.
And I wore that lehenga multiple times throughout India. Like that is one of the highest quality items I've ever purchased. Same with other outfits that I bought. What you spend on an item often is going to correspond with the quality. And not always, like, I have my thoughts on places like Urban Outfitters where I think you pay a lot of money for quality that isn't great. But like any other country, again, you're going to see things that are really poor quality. You're going to see things that are really wonderful quality.
Makes sense. And based on your views on fast fashion, which I totally agree with, that depends on how much you're spending, the brands that you're spending, and you have to have a good judge of character in terms of the apparel when you are out shopping. So that makes a lot of sense here. And the last question we have from you comes from
outside of the lehenga. Oh, I was gonna say, outside of the lehenga in India, though, like things are pretty cheap. Like India is a very, very affordable country in general, though. So like obviously something that is high quality there is still going to be a lot less expensive than something here.
That makes total sense. And good to know in case you guys feel like shopping when you're traveling abroad. Our last question comes from Mary over on YouTube. Mary wants to know, do you think fashion helps you connect with people when you travel? Great question.
Absolutely. I think when you're wearing a statement piece or something interesting, it makes people much more likely to come up to you and like talk to you about your item. Also, I normally have green hair extensions. I just took them out because it's miserably hot this summer, so I don't want them right now. But I normally have the green hair extensions, and I get a lot of attention, especially in other countries, because like they don't really see that very much. I would say that's a lot more of an American thing. In India, people ask to take, and that's also like an American thing. Like I think they just do it with a lot of white foreigners in particular. They all want to take pictures with you. I had a group of like 20 people that literally were like from way across like a lake were like, hi. And they followed me all over and they were like, can we take a picture with you? Can we take a picture? And it's like, it's endearing.
And you're
it's
like,
really
you're like, sure. And like you said too, when you're going and renting the clothes and you have these people wanting to dress you, I feel like that also definitely helps you connect with them and connect with the culture. So that totally makes sense. How fashion can help you bridge that gap in connecting with the local culture, sounds like.
Yeah. And when you're going out and about and you're wearing a local outfit and they can tell you're not from there and you're wearing their local outfit, it starts a conversation. I had a little girl in Albania when I was wearing that Albanian outfit that you showed, and she just came up and gave me a hug.
Oh my gosh. That is so heartwarming. I love that.
My mom got the cutest picture of it.
Yeah, okay, good. As long as you got a photo of it, because that's just too cute to not share. I love that. Well, Lindsay, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and sharing some of your content with us. So you mentioned that your upcoming trip is to Norway. When is that going to be? Yeah,
so I'm going to Norway over Labor Day weekend.
Okay. So coming up soon. So to everybody watching at home, make sure to go follow Lindsay on Instagram because I imagine we're going to be getting some content from that trip. Can we look forward to that, Lindsay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And shout out to my boyfriend Tom because he's my photographer and he does a great job.
Oh my gosh. Tom, chef's kiss. The composition, the photography. He knows to wait for the cloud with the lighting. So send my kudos to him.
He knows to wait for the cloud.
He knows. You've trained him well. He is a great Instagram boyfriend. So grab your Instagram boyfriends and travel and make sure you're renting your clothes abroad. And if you're not ready for that trip, at least go follow Lindsay for some inspiration and beautiful photos. But Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us. We'll follow you on social media and I'll be talking to you soon. But thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you. This was a blast. I'm so happy I got to join you today.
Yes, I know. It's so nice like talking to you virtually and all that. But to our viewers at home, stay tuned because we have one last game coming your way for this show. So we'll be right back.